I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Serious? Coming up.
Somebody's coming up. Somebody's serious. Somebody's coming up. Somebody's serious. Somebody's coming up.
Hey everybody, Jerry Williams, aka GreaterSapien here. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a while since I posted on a regular basis, and I can honestly say I have no plans to start putting out videos regularly again. Honestly, life has been much better since I shifted my focus to other hobbies and more constructive uses of my personal time. But I did feel the need to check in about the state of the world and the presidency of Donald J. Trump. A year ago, in a series of videos just prior to 2024 and just after, I laid out my reasons for not trusting Trump with the office of the presidency. I also laid out my concerns and made direct predictions about what would happen with a second Trump term. And quite a few of you derided everything I said as an overreaction, as my TDS out of control, my anti-Trump bias clearly clouding my judgment. Trump supporters in the comments said my predictions would not happen, that Trump was not going to do the things I said or act in the way I said. And they said they didn't vote for that, and that was not what would come about. In those videos, I said, hold me to my words, and that I would happily admit if I was wrong, because that would mean the country is doing well. But I also asked, if these things do happen, will you Trump supporters who said they would not happen admit you were wrong and speak out against it? Or will you be fine with it and find some way to justify it? So, let's look at my concerns and predictions and see how they hold up. First up, the weaponization of government. I said that Trump would use the DOJ, IRS, and the federal agencies to target political enemies, critics, and journalists. And it looks like I could not have been more right. The President of the United States literally posted a direct message on social media to the Attorney General demanding action on prosecutions of his political enemies. When the people in charge of investigations refused to indict because of a lack of evidence, they were fired and replaced by yes men who would do the deed. The rules of the IRS are being rewritten so it will be easier to remove the tax-exempt status of left-leaning groups that raise funds to oppose Trump. And in September, Trump declared Antifa a domestic terror organization, even though it isn't an organization that exists. They've created overly vague and broad descriptions of what makes one worthy of investigating as a DTO, such as extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. Whatever the fuck that means. Well, what it means is they've created a vague category of thought crimes to justify going after those on the left. And already, there are some of you twisting in your seat saying,
Biden's DOJ went after Trump and Trump allies. Where was your complaint then, Jerry?
Sorry, but there's no evidence that Biden's DOJ went after Biden's opponents because they were Biden's opponents. There was an actual political conspiracy to falsify electors across multiple swing states in order to change the outcome of the election. That needed to be investigated as a crime. Biden's DOJ has no control over what other state attorneys general do, so sorry, you can't pin that on Biden unless you can show that Biden told them to do it, which you can't. But Trump has openly stated, these people were investigating me. They impeached me. Adam Schiff, Jack Smith, these people are dirty and you need to get them for me. Biden's DOJ saw crimes and went after the people that did those crimes. Trump's DOJ has people targeted and they're looking for crimes to pin on them. Let's look at their mortgage paperwork, and if they messed up somewhere, let's nail them. Oh, they're an immigrant in Congress or running for mayor? Let's scour their 25-year-old citizenship paperwork, and if there's a typo, let's revoke their citizenship. Weaponization of the government against his opponents? Kinda nailed it. Okay, next, the economy. Trump ran on bringing prices down, specifically groceries. There's this old-fashioned word, groceries, very descriptive, a beautiful word, groceries. I won on groceries, he said. He said he would lower grocery prices on day one. And a bunch of you supporters said that grocery prices were killing you and Trump would change that. I said his policies would make prices go up. And they have continued to go up. It's expensive as fuck going shopping, and we all know it. And this fucker is out there going out on a daily basis and saying that he has solved inflation, that costs are all down.
Prices are way down, groceries are down, everything's down.
Oh, you think things are expensive? You're wrong. He's solved prices. And he thinks if he repeats it enough, you'll just take it as fact. His tariff policies are making cars more expensive, beef more expensive. He's putting farmers out of business to the point that they'll need either a government bailout or to sell their farms to corporations so we have a less diversified farming industry. It doesn't help that his tariffs change depending on who he's mad at. Canadians put up an ad criticizing Trump's tariffs, 10% more tariff.
12 years dungeon. All of you, dungeon. 7 years, no trials.
Trump just had trade talks with China and is trying to claim some type of victory. But dude, I'm not giving you credit for putting out a fire you started. Especially when we're the ones that got burned and China made out better in the deal. World leaders know, as long as you appeal to Trump's ego, he won't notice you picking his pockets. So Trump's economy is going exactly like I said it would, which is shit. When it comes to foreign policy, Trump said he would stop needless wars and solve the Russian and Israeli wars easily. Hell, he said he would settle the Russian war in Ukraine before he even took the oath. Yeah, he fucking said that. Now, according to Trump, he's already solved 8 or 9 wars. I'm not exactly what the number is. It changes depending on Trump's mood. But no one can tell you what wars he solved or how he solved them. He says he's the only U.S. president to solve any war, anywhere, ever. But then again, this is the man that says that he's solved high prices and that he has the highest approval rating of any recent president. So we're used to him being full of shit. I said that he would side with Putin in Ukraine and make things worse for the people of Gaza, and that's pretty much been the case. He's been making a lot of gestures and having a lot of conversations with Putin, but for some reason, the deals always lean in Russia's favor and provide time and cover for Putin to do whatever he wants. And not only did Trump continue to let Israel commit genocide against the Palestinian people, his family members have been in on the plans to divide the land up because it's a real estate opportunity. Now, someone commented that they bet I wouldn't even give Trump credit for getting us on a path to peace in the region. And they are right, because they're not on a path to peace there. At least not any better than the paths that they've been on before. And like previous times, they got to the first stage of some sort of ceasefire agreement, only to have someone, usually Israel, find an excuse to start fighting again. So, no peace. Besides, we all know that Trump doesn't care about actual peace happening. He just wants the Nobel Prize. So much that he's trying to get credit for the prizes that others have gotten. And let's not ignore that the president is fighting an undeclared war in Venezuela these days, killing so-called narco-terrorists without any evidence or any congressional approval. And just yesterday, he started threatening to go into Nigeria. So, Mr. No Wars? Not so much. Now, his immigration policy. I expressed my concern that Trump's execution of mass deportations would be disorderly and inhumane. that it would quickly go beyond hardened criminals to include people who were simply here to improve their own lives and would disrupt families and communities. I also said that with the limited capacity we have for holding people, we would have to start building internment camps. Now, our standard detention centers are full. So in addition to the inhumane practice, in my opinion, of sending people to unregulated foreign torture prisons, we've tried opening facilities like the ignorantly named Alligator Alcatraz. Trump has tasked the Navy with getting new contracts for camps around the country and set aside $10 billion for it. Now, given that the administration is saying the detention centers will consist primarily of tents, I really don't have much of an issue with calling them camps. Also, just as I predicted, the need for more capacity has been lucrative to the private prison industry. Geo Group, which I specifically named a year ago, and CoreCivic, the country's two largest private prison companies, have reported a 5% and 10% second quarter revenue increase compared to last year. I just keep being right about these things. And sadly, inhumane treatment seems to be the point of all this. After all, this is Stephen Miller's wet dream, and his views are so bad, even Trump knows they can't be made public.
I want to thank Stephen Miller, who's right back in the audience right there. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings, but maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far.
So far this year, there have been more than 20 deaths of people in ICE custody. Lack of access to medication, medical neglect, unsanitary conditions, malnutrition, and denial of rights such as access to counsel have been a constant experience reported by detainees. We have armed military and armed ICE agents cosplaying as military, walking the streets of America like an occupying force, racially profiling people and asking them where they're from.
I'm just saying.
Just what?
Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you?
They've dropped all pretense that they are focusing on hardened criminals. One, because doing that is hard work. And two, that was never the point. The point was to get rid of immigrants, period. They're going after law-abiding immigrants. They're going after school children. They are looking into making it easier to rescind citizenship of legal immigrants. And of course, they're focused on people of color. Now, some of you are saying,
Why do you have to make this about race, Jerry?
but that's not me. That's the Trump administration. It's been reported that the Trump administration is considering overhaul to the U.S. refugee system that would give preference to English speakers, white South Africans, and Europeans who oppose migration. Sorry if I'm being reductive, but that sounds to me like the policy is we're okay with refugees as long as they're white and don't like brown people. The Department of Homeland Security tweeted out, "remigrate," which is a term used by white supremacists when discussing the forced removal of racial or ethnic minorities. Fucking what? And I'll admit that that's an extreme example and they quickly deleted it. But the Vice President of the United States is openly normalizing bigotry, saying just a couple days ago that it's understandable and fine that Americans don't want to live next to people of a different culture. This is the messaging now. It's fucking 1950. So my concerns and predictions about Trump's immigration policies have been fucking spot on. Now, a good many of you Trump supporters said,
No, it's not going to be like that.
but here it is. Are you fine with it? If so, just own it. You want the dehumanization of immigrants. You want the intimidation of your fellow citizens in America, and you want the American opportunity to give preference to white Christians. Fucking admit it. And it's not just citizenship preference, is it? It's health and healthcare. There are diseases and environmental exposures that disproportionately impact people of color in this country. The Trump administration has decided that research into these things is giving racial preference to people of color, so they're cutting the funding. That's right, brown people. Something about your groundwater seems to be killing you more than white people. We were looking into it, but decided helping you wouldn't be fair to white people. But that's what you voted for when you voted to stop DEI. You voted to stop research into the health of anyone other than white people. And lastly, in my previous videos, I spoke of the threat of dictator normalization. After my videos about the No Kings rally, many of you righties kept repeating,
He's not acting like a king. We don't have a king. He's not acting any differently than any other president.
and this is what I mean by dictator normalization. You've decided that you're okay with what's being done in the fight against people you don't like, so you've changed the threshold of what it means to be authoritarian, to be acting like a king. Because you know, as an American, you don't want a king. You can't tolerate an authoritarian, but you want him to do these things so he can't be acting like a king. He can't, because then you would have to oppose him or admit you want a king.
That you crave subjugation. You were made to be ruled.
As I write this, there is a government shutdown in the US. Millions of Americans' healthcare costs are going to jump some 30% at the start of the year. And as of Saturday, some 40 million citizens will lose food assistance unless Trump follows a court order to continue the funding, which of course he could have done without being ordered by the court. But hey, while millions of Americans were worried about how they're going to pay for food, Trump threw a Gatsby-themed Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago for his billionaire friends. He's demolished the East Wing of the White House in order to build a gold-lined ballroom for himself and his mega donors. Practically every day, he posts images bragging about the quality of gold or marble he's adding to the rooms. The Oval Office looks like a playroom of a Saudi prince. How is this not acting like a king?
But the taxpayers aren't paying for it. He is.
No, he's not. He never pays for anything. He's got corporate donors that pay for everything for him so they can gain his favor and maybe get something in return when it comes time to deal with the regulation of their industries. He said the ballroom was going to cost $200 million, and then it was $250, then $300, then $350 million. Now, no one has seen any actual estimates. No one has seen any contracts or any knowledge of how they were granted. No one knows where the money is actually going to go. But Trump claims to have raised enough that he might put some of it toward building this Arc de Trump he wants. No one's asked for any of these things. He's doing these for himself.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
But he's not taking a salary.
Why would you need to take a salary? $400K a year is nothing when you're profiting off of being president. He was gifted a $400 million plane, a flying palace that will cost the American taxpayer about $400 million to retrofit. It won't be finished in time to use as Air Force One, so he'll just use it for himself when he's out of office. Trump's family members are openly making business deals with foreign leaders Trump recently met with. He and his family make billions off of crypto, taking de facto donations from foreign countries wholly illegally, but since he's in charge of those that investigate financial crimes, he's off the hook. And speaking of being on the hook for crimes, he's suing the American people, you and me, for compensation for the trials and investigations he went through to the tune of $230 million. And since he's in charge of the Justice Department, he can just tell them to give him the money. And some of you may be thinking,
Jerry, he did have to pay for all the lawyers over the past few years.
No, he didn't. If you don't remember, he was fundraising his defense fund for all that. They're coming after me because I'm protecting you. Give me money. So he gets all of you to give him money for his defense. Then he gets in office and says, I'm going to need more of your money for my pain and suffering. But I'll probably give it to charity. Oh, thank you, sir. You are so generous.
Please, sir. I want some more.
When I talked about him being this way a year ago, you Trumpers said,
but none of that happened in his first term. There's no reason to think that would happen now.
And I said that that was because he was surrounded by normal Republicans who understood American norms and would tell him no. Now he's surrounded by yes men who all but literally kiss his ass and heap disgusting praise on him.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you. Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
You're wise, you're beautiful, you're handsome, the universe. What a wonderful idea. Take my hat off to you.
And people who worked for him personally when he was out of office, and hate mongers like Stephen Miller. I told you when the Supreme Court granted him immunity, he would act like a king. And here he is. How is treating our taxes like his personal piggy bank not acting like a king? How is joking about being both president and Speaker of the House not acting like a king? How is saying he's not going to Congress to declare war in Venezuela, that we're just going to just kill people, not acting like a king? How is that not problematic for you? How is the president telling Republican states to gerrymander out Democrat members of Congress not problematic? How is the president ordering the National Guard of every state to prepare rapid reaction units to quell unrest when there's no unrest? How is that not a problem for you? When the president states that he might invoke the Insurrection Act so he can send the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, anybody he wants into Democrat-run cities, why is that not a problem for you? When he sends election monitors only to Democrat voting cities, why is that okay? And when you take those rapid reaction forces, Insurrection Act troops targeting Democratic voting, rigging the district maps, and you add those to Trump declaring that he's going to make sure that what happened in 2020 never happens again, how do you not see the authoritarian surge to control the outcomes of supposedly free elections? How are you fine with all of it? But if you're not fine with it, if some of what Trump is doing is too far for you, but you can't stand against him yet, where's the line? Are you so afraid of potential left-leaning political victories that you'll allow more and more? Is the idea of a 9-year-old trans girl playing girls soccer so fearsome that you'll allow military checkpoints near polling stations? Are you okay with only having state-approved media outlets as long as Rachel Maddow is out of a job? Is your opposition to illegal immigration so deep that you don't care how many innocent American citizens get swept up, abused, imprisoned, mistakenly deported? Where's the fucking line? Are you going to wait till he starts acting like a real king and then try to speak out then? What's it going to fucking take for you to stand up and say, this is not normal? And I'm not just talking about being honest with yourself and admitting, Trump is acting in ways that I think are not in line with how a constitutional president should act. I mean, that's great and all, but when are you going to speak out? When are you going to make yourself heard? And I'm not just talking to people who are just now coming to terms with who Trump is. I'm talking about everyone who genuinely sees what's going on. Where are you? Let them hear you. Let them see you. If you're afraid that being open in your criticism of those in power will make you a target, that's all the more reason to make yourself heard. Some friends have expressed concern that my going out to these protests, wearing these shirts every day, being so visible, will potentially get me in trouble. Potentially, sure. But if I'm not willing to do the minimum of making myself heard in a time like this, who the fuck am I? And if you can look at the way things are going now, the way that the people in power are choosing to wield that power and say, this is the way things are supposed to be? Who the fuck are you?
And the Shogun is the master. Why don't you sit down and shut up?
I mean, seriously, how is this normal? You have a president posting AI-generated videos of himself as a king dumping shit on American citizens. You have a White House gallery of presidents with a photo of an auto pen instead of Joe Biden. When asked who picked Budapest as the site for Trump's meeting with Putin, the White House spokesperson responded, "Your mom did." When appearing before a Senate Oversight Committee, Attorney General Pam Bondi did not come with notes of useful information to answer questions. Instead, she came with a notebook full of pre-scripted insults to fling at Democrats who dared ask her about her job. The country is run by unqualified, immature trolls, more interested in making sure they go viral than actually doing their jobs.
Why don't anybody who wants me to sit down and shut up come down here and make me?
The president keeps bragging about scoring well on new cognitive tests like that means he's smart. But the fact that they keep having him do these tests means they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with his mind.
I can't hear you.